I had a pretty rough night last night, and I could slowly start to feel a cold creeping up on my immune system. Today wasn't a good day at all for me to get a cold, because my mother had set up a special get-together with some of her acquaintances, and she wanted me to do the desserts for their little brunch. I had an inkling that she was just doing this as a way to show off, but I don't think this is going to turn out well. As each of my mother's guests waltzed into our living room with one after another, I could already feel the judgmental eyes scanning everything in the room. I couldn't understand why my mother was even associating herself with people like these. While setting down a plate of freshly made sweet rolls and croissants, I hurried back to the kitchen before any of them could start asking me personal questions.
Oh, I have to say, dear, that these pastries your daughter made are absolutely divine. Oh, these little things? Oh, that was just something she whipped up. She has something special in store for you all a little bit later. Well, whatever it is, it smells wonderful. You are so blessed to have such talented children. Didn't you also tell me that it was your daughter who did the decorations around the house and the flower arrangement in the yard?
I watched nauseated as my mother continued to act outside of her character, glancing over at my sister who was standing beside my mother, a strained smile pressed on her lips. Excuse me. Waving my hands to get her attention, I wrapped my hands around my throat and pretended to make gagging sounds. My mother cut her eyes at her as she tried to hold back her laughter. She then turned her attention back towards me as I quickly placed my hands back down and flashed her an innocent smile.
Sweetie, could you go and check up on those tarts?
I did. Everything is absolutely divine. Alakwa let out a loud cough, and I could tell it was in an effort to cover up her snickering. My mother didn't find my mockery very funny, because just as the three women turned to one another, continuing their conversation, she gave me the deadliest look I have ever seen her muster. After what felt like an eternity, or at least what felt like 4 hours, my mother started to wrap up the little brunch get-together. Everything seemed to have gone so smoothly, but whenever a group of female trolls gather together, there's always some drama that's sure to follow.
Oh, I almost forgot to ask. How is your daughter doing with finding a mate? This is going to be her 10th year of trying, right? No, it's only her 6th, and she's doing fine. She's already caught the eye of some very promising young men.
I knew exactly who she was talking about, but there was a reason why I agreed to be a part of her old lady get-together. After what happened last night, I just wanted to cut all contact from the Prince of Jerks. So the best way to avoid him is to stay indoors.
Oh, really? That's interesting, because my daughter told me that she saw your daughter at each meet and greet off to herself alone, and I wasn't sure if maybe she might need my help to, introduce her to someone.
I could see the vein in my mother's neck slowly start to rise, and her smile began to thin out.
Are you insinuating that my daughter isn't able to attract a man on her own?
With a shrill laugh, the old troll covered her mouth with her hand, while the other two stood there, looking at one another quietly.
Oh, of course not, dear. It's just after seeing her alone for so many years and with your back history.
Wow, your condescending voice is really good.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember what voices I'm doing for each character and I've completely forgotten.
Eh.
What does my history have to do with my daughter? Oh, dear. The whole thing after the divorce and the fact your husband actually ran off with some fairy woman.
Me and my sister stood rooted and utterly shocked. I couldn't believe that this troll had the stones to say that to my mother right in her own house. I made my way by my mother's side before she could grab hold of the old woman.
You don't know what in the world you're talking about. Oh, I think I do. Judging by your daughter's appearance, I figure she's going to take after you in the love department. Rude.
Glancing over at my sister, she scrunched up her nose.
At least the youngest was able to be blessed with her father's good looks. Pity for the oldest, though.
Dropping her gaze down at me, I could feel my blood start to boil as I began to squeeze my mother's hand for support.
It's best if you settle for the first thing that asks after you, dear. I don't see any hope for you in the future. Get out!
Before Alakwa or I could react, my mother had already had the troll by the hair and was dragging her out the door.
You think you can look down on my daughter? I invite you into my home, give you food, and this is how you repay me?
My mother had struggled for so long and so hard to raise me and my sister all on her own. She'd sacrificed so much that I could feel the tears of pain stake my eyes as I watched my mother try to keep the dignity that was ripped apart by that horrible troll. Slamming the door shut, my mother stood there with her tiny shoulders shaking with rage. I looked over and saw tears streaming down my sister's face. Why did people seem to make it their life objective to pick on our family? Mama. Whirling around without saying a word, she marched down to her room and slammed the door shut. Turning over to my sister, she looked at me and shook her head. My heart ached to see her in so much pain, but before I could reach out to her, she turned away and locked herself in her room. I stood there all alone with no one to offer a shoulder for me to cry on, too. It was at that time that I realized that I didn't really have very many friends, besides my mother and sister, that was all. Shaking my head, I sat down on the couch trying to think up a good distraction. What about the two people who were there also?
Yeah, there were two other people there.
Did they just make themselves scarce?
I like to think that they heard the shouting and were all like, yep, I'm just gonna put down my tea and just walk out now. Yep. I don't want to get into a fight. Let's just go. La, 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 la. And they're already home by now. They left ages ago.
Yeah. They're in their bath now and gossiping with their husbands. Like, you would not believe what happened at the brunch that I saw today. Glancing out towards the windows, I saw the woods where I had always seemed to run into Demeen. Even though last night's incident still had me upset, he was the only other person that I really spoke to. Getting up, I grabbed my shoes and headed outside. He apparently was the only one who would come to me if I called out to him. As I made my way to my usual spot in the forest, I heard the familiar sound of laughter and talking.
Is her diary still in that tree?
Oh God.
Oh God.
Walking into the clearing, I saw Demeen sitting around laughing with his friends. The girl hanging on his arm beside him was the first to notice me, then moments later his gaze fell on me as well. The arrogant look on his face made me regret coming out here to find him.
Hello there, stranger.
Hey.
Did you miss me, love?
No. I watched as he shook his head and laughed. Even though I was upset with him, I'd missed hearing his laugh. Strange. Holding my hand out, I motioned for him to come over to me. I saw the girl beside him nod up her face in disgust. Demeen. Come here.
You're crazy! You can't call to him like some kind of... sorry. Are you crazy? You can't call him to you like some kind of puppy.
Still not moving with my hand held out, I kept a steady gaze on him, hoping he would be able to feel what I was feeling just for a moment. Just as the girl was about to continue, Demeen stood up and gently pushed her hand off his arm.
Sorry, but that's the first time that girl's ever called my name, so it might be serious. But Demeen, I say your name all the time, and she's calling you over like some puppy.
I watched as the girl grabbed onto his arm, trying to pull him back, but he just flashed her a patient smile and pulled her hand back again.
I don't mind being her puppy.
Oh.
Mm.
As he made his way towards me, I started to walk away, motioning for him to follow so that we would be out of eye and earshot of the others who were watching and talking about us loudly. Hey, are you busy?
Wasn't that already kind of obvious? I knew trolls were a little dense, but you seriously take the cake, Buttercup.
It takes one to know one. Chuckling, he crossed his arms and leaned against the tree.
Even though I am enjoying our little conversation, I can't help but wonder what your sudden reason for calling out to me is.
I wanted to see if... I trailed off as I lost the courage to ask something so selfish and stupid. He raised a questioning eyebrow at me curiously. A smile slowly spread across his face.
You're not seriously gonna ask me out on a date, are you?
No, it's not that, it's...
You sure? If it is, just say the word, Buttercup, and...
I don't want to date, and stop calling me that. I just need someone to be around for a little bit, that's all. I stood there frozen as I waited for his response. I couldn't bring myself to look at him as the silence between us thickened before he broke up.
Well, you're around someone now, aren't you?
I mean, I need to go someplace to help clear my head. I feel cooped up right now, and I wanted someone to take me someplace, so...
So you thought I'd be that someone?
Yes. My yes was barely audible. Audible. This is stupid. What was I thinking, honestly? Lifting himself off the tree, he walked towards me, his arms still crossed over his chest.
Just one question. Why would I take precious time out of my day to pick up a troll who apparently hates my guts?
I couldn't quite understand why he was asking that sort of question, and my mind was already jumbled up and cloudy because of everything that had went down so quickly. I couldn't find an answer for him. Does that mean you won't do it? I gave him a confused look.
No, I never said that. I just need a reason. What do I get out of all of this?
I can bake you something yummy.
Not good enough.
I'll do your lunch for a week?
Keep trying.
I racked my brain trying to think of something else I could offer. I don't have anything else to offer.
Yes, you do.
Finally growing impatient, I looked up at him, shaking my head slowly, completely baffled by what he was doing. Well, if you know, then please tell me.
You have to promise you'll do it before I tell you.
If you're asking me for a kiss, then you can forget it, because...
Don't get your hopes up. I wouldn't kiss you even if you begged me to.
He let out a loud laugh while I rolled my eyes as I took another blow to my already damaged pride.
Shall I sweep you away?
I looked up at him, his eyes... excuse me. I am having emotional moments. His silver eyes stared back down at me with the same strange look that I saw last night. Yes.
Then you'll make me that promise?
Fine. Even though Demeen was in a pain in the neck, he was still fun to be around. It's the music. It's making me very emotional.
Oh, I can't even hear the music. I want to hear the music.
You can
I
hear
can't
the
wait.
music when you watch it over.
Yeah, I can't wait till it comes out, because then I can hear the music and I'll know why you're so emotional.
That
Anyway.
and I also hate conflict.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll meet you at your house in 10 minutes.
I stood outside my house waiting for Demeen. The fresh evening air brushed against my skin. I took a deep breath and could already feel myself starting to feel better.
You ready to be swept away, Buttercup?
Demeen appeared around the corner. His messy hair gave him the classic bad boy look, lightly bouncing in the breeze. Why don't you ever fix your hair? I ran my fingers through his hair, trying to get it to lay down.
Should you really be the one telling me that?
Yeah, really. Hey, I do my hair every morning, unlike you. You look like you just rolled out of bed. I suddenly realized that I was touching his hair way too casually and pulled my hand back. Following my empty hands with his eyes, he frowned.
Where are my baked goods?
I thought you said that you didn't want any.
Oh, no, I want them and the promise you owe me.
He grabbed my hand and pulled me to his side. So where are we going?
Somewhere magical.
That's ominous. I rolled my eyes and snorted, shaking my head. You know, even though I'm a little...
Hang on tight.
What the fuck? A sudden gust of wind blew my hair around us in waves as white clouds formed underneath us. Gently, we were lifted into the sky. I've always heard stories about how some unicorns can use clouds as a form of transportation if they didn't want to use their wings, but this was the first time seeing it. This was also my first time so high in the air. Trolls were more earthly creatures, so being this high up made me so nervous. I wrapped my arms tightly around his sides, absorbed in the sun's beautiful evening glow.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna let you fall.
I narrowed my eyes at him and he flashed me a mischievous grin. You're being awfully nice to me all of a sudden.
I could be nice.
I rolled my eyes. My fear pushed back the embarrassment I should have felt from clinging on to him like a terrified child.
We're almost there.
I mean, if it's your first time in the air, I don't think that anybody would excuse you for being terrified out of your mind.
Yeah.
Squinting, I tried to see where he was pointing. Is that a waterfall on top of your castle?
Yep. I come up here whenever I need to get some space.
I could see what he meant. The waterfall was hundreds of feet above the castle. You could get as much space as you needed up here. After finally reaching the top of the building, the clouds gently set us down. I looked around in awe. This place was even more splendid up close. This is amazing. Starting to walk away, Damien pulled a bag off his shoulder, then stopped and glanced back at me.
Well, you just gonna stand there all day, or are you gonna follow me?
This place really did look magical, but I couldn't help but wonder why he brought me here. We could have just sat by the lake or relaxed in the pasture, but this place, it looks so special. I closed my eyes, tasting the roar of the water as it rushed over the rocks. The calming sound of the water was refreshing. It felt like all my stress and worries was floating away with the water.
Beautiful. This is going to be one of those cases where he's looking at her and not at the waterfall.
Yeah.
Because, oh my god, that is such an overused trope.
Yay, cliches!
Yay.
I opened my eyes at the sudden sound of Damien's voice beside me. You're right, it really is.
I wasn't talking about the place. Called it.
Yep. I turned to look at Damien, his eyes boring straight into mine. But what? He then flashed me another amused smirk and walked away.
It's really way too easy to tease you, Buttercup.
Taking this chances to get some payback, I ran up behind him and pushed him as hard as I could into the water. I burst into laughter as he started coughing up some of the water that he swallowed. Your face is priceless. I could barely choke the words out between spurts of laughter.
Oh, that made you laugh, did it?
He had already climbed out of the water and was advancing towards me. Trying to run away was pointless, but I tried anyway. I've never been one to take to water very well. I like looking at it, but being thrown into it is a totally different situation. Wait, I apologize.
You should have thought about that before you pushed me in, love.
Taking only a few short strides, he reached me and wrapped his arms around my waist. He easily lifted me up and carried me back to the water. Don't you dare!
Oh, hold on a second, I think we're getting some lag. The video isn't updating.
Oh. Sky, please.
Have a good swim!
Despite me holding on to him for dear life, he was still able to toss me bottom first into the water. Ah! We splashed and fought in the water until the sun finally set. The night air made me shiver. My clothes were now completely soaked. I'm so gonna catch a cold tomorrow.
Okay, it's still quite lagged. Skype, why are you so bad? Ah!
Oh, please, Skype. We're almost done with day 5, though, so we can...
Okay, we'll do day 5 and then... Don't worry, if you do, I'll bring you some yummy food to make you feel better.
Smiling, I playfully nudged him away. You'd better. It was your bright idea to play in the water until it got cold.
I can't tell if my line's come up or not. Oh, there we go. But you feel better now, don't you?
Thinking about it, I realized it was the first time in a very long while that I'd had this much genuine fun. Yes, I do. Thank you, Damien.
Come on, Skype.
Come on, Skype, you can do it.
Come on, Skype. We believe in you, Skype. Don't forget, you still owe me our promise.
Rolling my eyes, I followed him back to the cloud that would take us home. That was day 5. So, thank you for watching. Do you have anything left to say, friend?
I hope that Skype works better next time.
Me too. So, yes, thank you for watching. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.